Hello, good evening. So I hope this go live is finding you all in a really great place today as we are halfway through the week now. I suppose a brief update would be I'm doing really well at my job. I did question how quickly I would be able to pick things back up after being away from the bedside for the past 3 years, between doing home health and school nursing, but I have fallen right back into place. I'm using the same computer system that I used when I left the bedside back in 2020. And yeah, I'm so far, I'm really doing great. I really enjoy working with my preceptor. She's really fun and laid back. The people are pretty cool. They're really nice. And it's more than just like that new job honeymoon stage, because I'm a pretty realistic person. Nowhere is perfect, and I don't believe in a green pasture. But I do. I feel like I'm adequately challenged. I think for me that it's just getting used to some of the new technology that they use to maybe communicate with physicians. I'm learning that because we didn't have that a couple years ago, what they're currently using. But this is good. So I'm really happy to say that. I mean, yeah, 12-hour shifts are some long shifts. And by the end of it, when I get home after I shower, which I always shower first thing, it feels good to sit down. And I've been getting some of the best sleep because it wears me out. I do normally accessorize quite a bit. But with this job, I've gotten away from, I might wear some studs, but I don't wear my dangly earrings anymore. I don't wear my flower either because I am having to wear a lot of isolation, including like N95 mask and shields with the gowns and all that. So it's not really compatible with my work environment. So I've already given up on that look, and I might show it with my hair looking nice like it is right now. It's got volume and stuff, but by the time I leave, it's just kind of like I don't know. It looks a bit flatter. So yes, I wanted to let you guys know I've been doing really well with that. And another really random, unrelated thing. So I posted in our group that random TikTok video I made last night. I just put a picture of myself from the craft fair I did with Steve Carroll with that speaker because I think he's funny, and I thought, why not? It's a cute template. That thing is approaching 800 views. I've never ever had anything like that. That's without using hashtags. I've got 99 or 100 likes on it. I feel like I didn't really have to put much effort into it, and it's blowing up. I don't know why, because other people are using that template. So I'm currently stumped as to what in the world. Let's see, and of course I see my hubby on here. Hi, Tim. And then other than that, I'm almost done with the book I've been reading. So I don't have the longevity as when I was younger. Like you ask my mom, I used to get a book. That's all I would do is I would read around the clock. I loved reading. Book it, I excelled at book it and getting free pizzas. Now it's just my eyes are older. They strain, I tire easily. So I miss the eyes I had when I was younger in comparison to what I have in my 40s, I guess. But hey, at least I can see. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I know there's a difference there. So tonight we begin looking at the court cards for the swords. I am so excited. So we're going to get through our court cards. So I'll do another go live tomorrow evening, same time. And then I'll announce the days next week that I'll do my go lives to wrap the court cards up. After that, we just have the suit of pentacles left. And then we'll do the court cards for the pentacles. And then we will be done. We would have covered all 78 cards of tarot, which was my initial goal for our group. Probably as we get closer to finishing, all of them, I'll probably put up some sort of survey in our group to kind of fill out what you guys would like to delve into next. I really admire Rachel Pollack's work. As you guys know, I mention her frequently, and I use her resources quite a bit We lost quite a lady when she recently passed, like highly intelligent. I love the way she looked at tarot, and I'm so grateful we have her work to draw from, because of all of her books that she wrote. So we'll kind of build on our knowledge base and kind of, fill that out together as a group. And of course, the offer stands. If anybody does want to read for the group, you know that this is a safe place, and I love and support that. Just shoot me a message and let me know. So I think that sums it up as far as the announcements go. So we'll go ahead and just dive right in. So tonight we are going to talk about the Page of Swords. And so as always, I want you to take in the predominant color use, look at the central character, assess, are they looking directly at us or away? Look at their body language, look at the scenery. How does this card make you feel? Does it make you feel comfortable or uncomfortable? And just take in all that detail there. I really like it. It's just a really cool card in general. Now, I am going to start things off by reading from Rachel Pollack's Tarot Wisdom, Spiritual Teachings, and Deeper Meanings. This is the book that I do frequently reference and refer to for these go-lives. Such a beautiful book. It even has the other book that you can also acquire, which would be 78 Degrees of Wisdom. That's like the Tarot Bible. So again, well worth it. This is a very good purchase if you want to look into that. So let's see here. And so what I'll do is I underlined a couple things I wanted to read out loud about this card to you guys before I start breaking it down like I normally do for these. So here's that. So Earth of Air suggests bringing ideas down to earth. And yet, in many modern decks, based on the writer, we see the page on a hilltop, looking as if the wind might take him into the clouds at any moment. Pardon me, my nose is itchy. Clearly, the air part is stronger than the earth. I really like that because remember that swords are synonymous with the element of air, and that we deal with logic, communication, and action when it comes to the swords. Okay, again, this is a suit that very much values logic. And I like that the wind is blowing through our central character's hair. And even in the background, you see that the trees, like those are some strong winds. And it's a mirror image when I shine, like when I hold this up, I know you guys see like the reverse image like you would in a mirror. But it's showing that the foot here, I guess I'll go ahead and go into some of the symbols here. You see how it's facing forward? That's actually in the direction of the wind. However, our page is hesitant, which we have the foot turned in the way it is, and they're looking behind their shoulder because with this, remember that in tarot, our pages are very green and experienced, youthful, idealistic. And so this individual is very intelligent and excited and full of ideas and very witty and charming and speaks their mind on things, but at the same time hesitates a bit as well. They don't quite have that confidence, just like any of us when we're new to an endeavor. Let's see here. So the sword, remember, is an instrument of battle, and the page may be someone preparing for a fight. If we switch directions a moment and consider that movement from king down to page. There may be a quality of post-traumatic stress here. The idea of looking nervously back, defensive, long after the danger has ended. So what Rachel Pollack is saying is if you take your deck and you pull out your court cards for the swords and you go from the king to the queen to the knight to the page, it's showing that, say, this overall energy, how we evolve, right? It's like looking back, and it's almost thinking of what if. What if I would have said or done something differently or researched this differently? Would I be the same person, or would I have a different outcome with whatever scenario? So I really like how she wrote that. And I also like, in general, because what we see when we're doing our tarot teaching moments, my research will reflect, we're generally speaking, when it's in reverse, we're talking about the opposite meaning of the upright. However, at times, it's like an emphasis. It's like a worsening, like a heightenedness, or it's heightened onto, say, the upright meaning. So it's a more exaggerated form of the upright meaning. I think she words it really well here. So she says, this is a quality of reversed cards, that they may let go of the quality of the card or heighten it. So basically, it is, generally speaking, when we have a reverse meaning, it is generally the opposite of the upright meaning. However, like she said here, it could be a heightened quality to where it depends on if you're reading for yourself or others, the cards around it, and the dialogue. You get the overall big picture. And that is the complexity that comes into reading, right? So yeah. And so what I really like too, this is from the Shining Tribe Tarot. She has a picture in the book which shows this bird flying really high above the terrain, getting the overall big picture. So I really, really like that. Because again, birds are very synonymous with air and movement. So I like that they used birds there. So let me see. I think we're done with that. I'll go ahead and close that for now. Get that out of my way here. So basically what we have with this individual, again, it doesn't matter if it's male or female, we're talking about the energy, is, so like I was talking about, very intelligent, motivated. A thing to think of maybe would be, think about when somebody is in high school and they're about to graduate high school, and it's a lot of pressure to make that decision. Well, shoot, should I go to college or join the military or go to a technical school? And it's a huge decision, because at that point in time, you feel like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is going to be the job that I'm going to have for like the rest of my life. Like at that young age, that's how people feel. And they're not really ready to make that big of a decision, but our society, or maybe even their families, and friends, because they're looking at what their friends are doing, are kind of putting a little bit of pressure on them that that's the expectation. So I think that is like a really good example of our page's energy, to where they're very much capable and driven and motivated, and they're ready to conquer the world, but they're also very hesitant, because they do second guess themselves and they're not quite confident. So that's why instead, and you know that pages are messengers, instead of making that total forward momentum, which we will see with our knight, the knights are all about the action and the momentum, especially the Knight of Swords. That individual moves really quickly, right? We'll get to him tomorrow night. But that's why our page here, again, notice that, again, that footwork, very hesitant. And then with the clouds, we don't have full knowledge of everything. I mean, we have a predominantly beautiful sky blue, okay, just beautiful sky, right? But we've got this cloud cover and the wind blowing trying to drive our page forward, but again, we have that hesitancy. We don't have that full visibility. So our poor page in this stage, even though they've got so much going for them, there's still so much that's unknown, which creates that feeling of just vulnerability, right? Even though they're holding the sword. And like we've been talking about all throughout the Suit of Swords, you've got a truth revealed, but it comes at a cost. There's growing pains or literal pain that we go through as we evolve and determine truths. Hi, Jen. Welcome. But the thing is, our page may not realize this, but the ground beneath their feet is green. And it's even got a little bit of like a mustard yellow in there. So that shows that there's a promise of like growth and success. Once they start moving those feet forward and just kind of stop looking back and doubting themselves, they're going to do well. Now, with it upright, our page, again, very witty, intelligent, very quick with the little comebacks and so forth. They definitely have opinions about the world or about things, but again, very naive and inexperienced. At this stage, though, because again, we're seeing hesitancy, which I want to drive home. That's one of the key words with this card. Even though they're very quippy and witty and smart, they're going to think before they speak, because when we're dealing with swords, we're dealing with, generally speaking, very logical energies. So say, for example, with relationships, this is somebody who would be more so attracted to somebody who's intelligent. They're not really going to be wanting to do the whole emotional thing, which is more like our cup suit. The swords are all attracted to that logic. So say if they come across somebody who's not like them, that is, maybe a bit more emotional, like of water, they may not relate to that. Or a Pentacles type of person's more earthly and may like to just get their hands in the ground and not get lost in books. Our page, I love this about the page. They're all about the books. Give them a book about the thing that they're really interested in. They're going to soak up that knowledge because they know that knowledge is power, and that with that knowledge, they're able to wield that sword and really be able to back up what they're saying. It's not just an opinion. They're going to have the data to back it up. And so our page is very much about at that early stage. So think about, again, I did reference high schoolers before they graduate, but we're talking about people who are thinking about a career, like an apprenticeship. They may be like applying to school. So for example, back when I applied to nursing school, okay, I was very much Page of Swords. I worked with great nurses when I was in the military. They taught me a lot. I really revered them and looked up to them. And I used my GI Bill to apply to SLU, and I got in, and I went there for 4 years. Well, back then, at the very beginning, or actually even throughout that 4 years, I was very much studious, my head in the books, very focused on becoming an RN. So that's that Page of Swords energy. Okay, so that's an example. Or it's somebody new to a job. So that's the people we kind of put a little wing around, and we make sure that they know where to find stuff, where they can go find their policies and procedures. We let them know, hey, if you've got a question, you please come find me. It's okay not to know everything. And most importantly, we make them feel respected and valued and accepted. Those are our pages, and this is any profession. So those are examples of that. Let's see here. So with finances, this is somebody who's doing the research. They've got some ideas about how they would like to improve their finances, not quite confident at this point to really move forward. They've got a lot of ideas about what they would like to do. So I'm going to read off some descriptors and things I wrote down. And so I referred to Rachel Pollack's book. And then online, I looked at Biddy Tarot, which if you Google, the Page of Swords, you'll see Biddy Tarot come up, and then Labyrinthos. I really love Labyrinthos. Everything on there doesn't resound with me, but I like a lot of what they have. So with this, we're seeing, so it's an energy, whether it be male or female, okay? A new idea, perspective, or knowledge. It's an exploratory phase, which again makes us think of our young people or somebody very new to a career or thinking about it. So some meanings would be free looking and cautious, wary, possibly preparing for a fight, looking backward, which I don't know, like I'm hoping that you guys see this the correct way, because again, it's a mirror image, but they're literally looking behind them instead of going forward, like in this direction. Unsure, possibly nervous, a student of ideas, on guard, curious, clever, youthful. Even if it's not a young person, this is somebody with youthful energy, abundant air energy. That's why we've got that wind trying to pull our page forward. And you see the trees in the background and the shifting clouds. We've got abundant air energy, which makes sense with swords. Idealistic, a sharp tongue, quick wit, enjoys passionate debate. That was me in college. I used to love debating. I would have made a good lawyer if I wanted to be one. I would have been a good one. Mischievous, alert, observant, vigilant, eager, passionate. So with love, we're looking at an intellectual connection. So this is also somebody who may be interested in somebody else, be very much moved to make that connection, whether it be a romantic or platonic friendship, but they're kind of having some doubts about it. Again, very wary and cautious. They could also be doing that. Petty disputes. So this person, again, they're not quite confident, but they do want to say things. So they do have opinions on things, and they love logic. And of course, we're dealing with swords. So yeah, at times there's going to be some conflict, with career, we're looking at ambition. So this is an ambitious person, a new career or thinking about a new career, and education. So our people who are in school, even our own children, we would consider them pages, very idealistic and bright-eyed and ready to conquer the world. And with financial, it's ideas about making money, investing, so forth, stocks, all that. Let's see here. So let's see here, I think, now, of course, I didn't mention yet, so we have mountains in the distance. So, and this is our youthful page. So there will be obstacles to be had on the journey. So I think we see that a lot. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but when I look at this card, even though it's not like literally like, I don't know quite what's beyond this, but it gives me like the full vibes, like from the major arcana. Once our page is confident in the direction they're about to go, and they take that leap off this rocky precipice of sorts, they're going to be going toward this. But they share that bright-eyed enthusiasm that the Fool from the Major Arcana has. So that's what I see when I look at this card. Let's see here. And again, the Green Land shows that ideas can bring positive change and forward momentum, because our page is very much full of different ideas, very smart. Now with reversals, so like Miss Rachel Pollack had pointed out, so we're generally talking about the opposite of the upright meaning, or a heightened or more exaggerated meaning of the upright. And I agree with her. You have to kind of look at what cards are around this, whether you're reading for yourself or other people, to kind of gauge which way that is. But what we're seeing here is when it's in reverse. So you know how, like I was talking about, if it's upright or page, again, not confident, they're quick and witty, but because they don't quite have that confidence and they're still very much in their books and in their head, they may not say everything, right? Well, when it's in reverse, they lose that. This is somebody who may exaggerate their capabilities or their knowledge base. We call it talking out of their butt. I don't know if y'all have heard that saying. That's what it is. People who talk about things, they have no idea what they're talking about, or they exaggerate or embellish their stories, because it's all about being right. So when it's in the upright, our page is wanting that knowledge and very much is charming, and people like having this individual around. They brighten up the room. They make you feel good to be at your job or whatever endeavor you're doing. You like being around this energy. Think about our children. I mean, when they're not driving us crazy, we like to hear about what they're doing at school and their good grades and all their accomplishments, right? Well, that's what that is. Well, when it's in, reverse, this is somebody, I mean, they're already a little mischievous because this is youthful. Look at that little expression on their face. There's a little bit of mischief there, okay? But when it's in reverse, they are getting into more trouble because there's no barrier. They're just speaking what's on their mind, and sometimes not for the greater good. It could be for the purpose of manipulation, deception. Versus when it's upright, it's coming from a good place, right? And so we're also seeing, though, another different way of looking at a reversal with this is, so the opposite of the upright meaning is meaning that they're confident. They're going to go with the direction of the wind, okay? They're not going to be hesitant. They're not going to be looking back. And yeah, then we're going to progress more so into our night energy. And so they're also going to be more relaxed and also more trusting of, say, people around them. Here, they're going to be more cautious and questioning. And then here, we're going to have more of that. With reversals, we're looking at someone as relaxed, trusting of self and others, possibly a heightened upright meaning. So with love, it could be just being argumentative, a career, it could be job hopping, unsure about a career. I get that feeling about being unsure of a career. I can really relate to the Page of Swords in more ways than one. Finances, we're looking at impractical ways of making money. So this is where they haven't done their legwork like they generally do when it's in the upright. That means that, no, they're not ready to make that forward momentum on their journey. They need to take the time to do a bit more research, talk to others, and gain insight before they continue off into that night stage and take that real quick momentum that we're going to review tomorrow. So, and the only other thing in the card that really stands out to me when I look at it, and this is very synonymous too, is our birds in the background. They're very distant. They're flying in the direction we want our night to go to, if that makes sense. Or actually, let's see. Well, it's kind of hard to tell because it's so far away, because it's just the little. Initially, at first glance, I was thinking that they would be flying toward the direction that the page is going into, but really, that could go either way. You really don't know, But initially, upon first glance, I was thinking that they were going to go with the direction of the wind, which if I was a little bird, I'd want to go in the direction of the wind. Then you can glide and not work as hard, right? So now we will go ahead and go into our other cards for comparison. So I really like this card. So it shows this young lady, and she appears very youthful and scholarly, and she's got this really huge book that she's very engrossed in. She is reading this book. She is not paying any attention to these little birds that are circling around her trying to distract her, right? And you can see that the author, Chris Ann, this is from the Light Seers deck, cleverly has this like white that she used, this light right here. It looks like light right there, but it's showing that this young lady's walking across this stick from, say, one side to another. So it actually does show her taking that forward momentum. So in contrast to our Rider-Waite-Smith page, she is not looking back. But again, though, very engrossed in that book, obtaining knowledge. And so she is holding that book with her left hand. And like I've told you guys in other Go Lives, so our intent, generally speaking, would go from the left hand, and then we manifest from our right, where we make our intent a reality. Now, say if someone's a lefty, just flip that around. But your dominant hand would be like the hand that you're manifesting your intent, your will with. You got to put the work in, though, to make that happen, right? And that's what our page here is doing. Again, trying to gather that data and just staying very focused. And then other than that, and then of course we've got the light bulb moments. So once that she acquires this and has a really good grip on the data, whether it be a new job, her finances, or what have you, that she's really driven to learn about, then we'll see these guys illuminate. She will manifest it. And then we're going to be progressing, like I said, more so into the night, to where there's, this energy is going to take some real quick momentum once we get to the night stage, but real pretty. I really like that card. With this one, just look for the commonalities here. We have a book. So again, very logical, very knowledge driven, because with data, that's how you have very good, discussions with people, or debates. You got to have your info, right? And I like how it shows. So here she is, and this is with her left hand. She's holding that sword completely, like it's not completely upright, but it's more so upright in this card. And then her right, it's like she's waiting to receive, and she's looking upward. So when I look at that, to me it's synonymous with, say, like the energy of the sun from the major arcana. Knowledge, illumination, warmth, clarity. So she is ready to receive that into the other hand, and very focused in doing so. She's been doing her work, right, with the book there that's open. Now look behind her. I love what they did with this labyrinth. Okay, like we don't know if she's about to go into it or if she had exited the labyrinth. But at this stage, with it being a page and that labyrinth looks really complex, and it would be crummy to get lost in that, I would bet you anything she hasn't quite went into it yet, but she wants to make sure that she's successful. So she's doing the prep work before she takes that journey on. And that labyrinth could be synonymous with like the things we've been talking about, whether, the usual, that new relationship, romantic or platonic, career, finances. Well, it's a complex issue. That's why she's been studying so hard for it. And that's why, again, she wants to make sure all of her ducks are in a row. She's got all of her info. And I also feel like I love how it's like looking upward for that divine insight, from that fatalistic point of view, that greater force that's bigger than me and you, to help her obtain that. Like she's done the earthly thing. She's grabbed the book and she's been reading it. But now she's looking for more insight, say from her spirit guides, ancestors, guardian angels, God. And God takes many forms and different names, right? She's just open to receiving. And I think that's so beautiful. I actually really like this card a lot. I really do. I love the shading and everything about that. And how even like her garment, you can tell like she's on her knees. But again, just very open. And the wind is blowing. See how her hair is blowing? I love it. I just think it's clever, So you guys know I love my Crow Tarot deck. I don't think out of all my Tarot teaching moments that I've said anything. I'm a big fan of MJ Cullinane, okay? I don't know if I'm crazy about this Page of Swords, okay? And the reason why, and you guys know I'm a bit of a stickler about, I like Rider-Waite Smith a lot. I really do. That is the foundation. Even though I'm about to kind of sound silly because our young lady here is walking forward. That's an action, right? So here, when I see this, I think of a knight, even though this is the page, see? Because our crow friend is hanging onto this sword and they're actually up in the air taking flight. And when I look at the card, they're facing forward. And yes, there's some cloud cover above them. There's a bit of gray murkiness there, which to me doesn't resonate with me with the page. Other than maybe alluding to, we don't have that full clarity and visibility when, at this page stage. Really, we don't, right? When we're green on things, we don't know. But I just don't like that it's in flight. I would have preferred this card maybe to have been a bit different, to show it not taking the action, because I think what we're missing is, like, from the Rider-Waite Smith, I like how it really captures this youthful energy and the hesitancy. I love the footwork in contrast to the wind trying to take her character another direction, being unsure, not confident, ready to conquer the world, but not quite yet. But then if you don't have this knowledge, you don't have this reference, and you're looking at this, you're thinking, okay, well, swords, logic, action, communication, the bird's in flight carrying the sword forward in the card. Okay, you look in the background, oh, there must be some obstacles. That looks really, like uneven terrain, very mountainous. We know there's going to be obstacles. This card doesn't, for me, do it for me. I don't get page vibes. But I still love the deck. I feel like I'm betraying this deck that I really love a lot, but I'm not a fan of that card. And the one I'm about to end this go live on for this, I'm even less of a fan of. So she's not wearing a bra, so you're not going to be able to see her accessory. I'm going to cover her breast up with my finger. It's a woman, okay? Now, it does show her... it's like she's facing backward, but looking forward. And she's like half part woman, part, like, I don't know, like some sort of bird. I don't get much from her facial expression. Might be thinking about something. And then as far as the terrain, I honestly... Oh, that's part of a skull in the background. So it's a skull is what we're looking at back there. I had to look at it closely. And then we just have this hybrid woman bird creature. And there's some random, like, leaves behind her. I don't like this card. Honestly, I don't even like the art on this card. Like, how, like, when I'm using the Hush Tarot, like, there'll be a lot of times, like, I'll tell y'all, oh, I like the art, which I like a lot of the art in that deck, but I don't really think a lot of those images resound with the foundation of tarot, which is the Rider-Waite Smith, which obviously, like I've told you guys, the Hush Tarot is not a Rider-Waite Smith based deck, But I was driven to buy it spontaneously because I had somebody read for me. And it was at the Grand Slam. We sometimes exchange readings to each other. And he's like, if I do a reading for you, you could do a reading for me. And that's how we generally do it. And I'm like, cool. And I sat and he did a reading for me with this deck. And I just remember thinking, I just loved, like, it's kind of like this darker, like, gothic type imagery. I like the color and the art. It really drew me in. And so I ordered it off Amazon. I even used it some, right? But it's not one of my favorites, you know. So yeah, you see what I'm saying though? Rider-Waite-Smith is the way to go when you're learning. So I think that wraps us up on that card for tonight. And then I'll be back tomorrow night and we'll do the Knight of Swords. And and then of course we'll do the tarot card of the day tomorrow. That'll be posting. And I think that sums us up. And then I'll do the reading for our group on Sunday. I'll do the weekly forecast. So that's it. Well, Jen, if you're still, I know you're always multitasking and doing things. Thank you for tuning in. And of course, I love my hubby. He's always one of my biggest fans. And I hope you guys have a good night and your presence is a blessing. I'm grateful for you. And Jen, you know I'm totally grateful for your friendship, for real. You're one of my nearest and dearest friends, you know. I hope you have a good night. Bye.